Hello, all of you vaingloriously wonderful people. This is the Barrage, and I'm about to find out if it'll off-road. And normally this is the point where I would tell you how many votes this vehicle's received, but it hasn't received any. I just felt like testing this and the next one because they're brand new and they're both off-roaders, so deal with it. But you can vote for the vehicles that you want to see featured in Will It Off-Road. I typically go completely off of your votes to see what you'd like to see featured in Will It Off-Road. But for this week, instead of voting, I mean, you can still go vote, but the snow is coming. If you remember last year, I did Will It Off-Road in the snow, and it was a really fun offshoot of the series. It lasted, what, like 2 months? So I recorded just a ton of cars all at once. So if there's something that you want to see featured in Will It Off-Road in the snow, with the snow coming up this coming weekend, as well as the weekend after that, leave a comment down below. Just the name of a vehicle that you want to see tested in Will It Off-Road in the snow, and I'll do my best to pick like 5 or 6 of the vehicles that I see in the comments, and then I will do a few that I want to do. Of course, if you're a Patreon supporter, your vehicle's more likely to be featured. Just saying. You know, I want to say thank you to those who support the channel, so, you know, they get first dibs. So anyways, the Barrage, a vehicle with another one-word name. No manufacturer on the Barrage, just Barrage, which is really weird. This is an interesting off-roader because, well, it just happened just there. It does not like to stay in a lower gear when climbing a hill, which is bad. We need it to stay down in those really low gears. And first gear really is what we need on a lot of these inclines, and it just does not want to ever stay there. I do have the fully upgraded transmission, engine, turbo, all that. You can hear the turbo flutter. So I don't really understand what's going on with this truck. It does also suffer greatly, as you just saw, from understeer. That doesn't mean this is a bad truck by any stretch of the imagination. It is in the military class, by the way. But I mean, it's still clearly a truck. I mean, look at it. But it's not a bad off-roader. It's just it could be so much better if its gearing was different. And so I'm not really sure why Rockstar chose to make it shift when it does, because there's really no point in it. Because, yeah, we get through our gears quick, and it does get to some decent top speeds. And as you heard a few seconds ago, it is really easy to get that midline speed boost as you're shifting between the two gears. Some people call it double clutching, but still, it's just disappointing that this can't stay in a lower gear where it can continue to put the power down. It's like it has a really low torque band and then it has to shift, so kind of bizarre. And you'll see on the controlled descent that actually becomes a bit of a problem, and I've ran into the same problem when just off-roading. But here, when we're going to basically a rock climbing section, it actually does really well. I'm able to keep it down there in first gear, and it climbs that with no problem whatsoever with a time of 3 minutes 7 flat. Will it off-road? Yeah, it will, making it the first in military vehicles. Then again, it's just up against the Bravado half-track, which took like over 7 minutes, almost 8 to get to the top. Anyways, we now have to take it back down Mount Chilliad for a controlled descent. And this is where things are going to get a little weird. You're going to see a couple things at play here. One is the glitchy nature of this truck. Every time I drive it, my game doesn't lag, but it's like the game is struggling to render the truck properly in orientation to its surroundings. I don't know how to really explain it better than that. You'll see it pop up a few times in the controlled descent, and you'll see it a lot in the damage descent. I have not asked those who have ridden with me in this truck if they're seeing it too, so I don't know if it's just something weird with my system or if this truck actually has issues. But it does handle fairly nicely, though that oversteer caused a bit of a problem there, but it was very easy to get that back under control, despite the fact that I was sliding sideways and it started to roll. That's kind of shocking. Have to come to just a stop here. Because again, really wide turning radius on this thing. I mean, you can see it's got a really long wheelbase, so that's to be expected. Going kind of wonky back in that section and still almost out of control, but managed to bring it back in. And that is something that's really nice about the Barrage, is that you can get it back under control, usually fairly easily. Taking a really weird line there. But there, if you saw how when we made the impact with the hiker kind of responded. I don't know, it's just, if you go back and watch it again, you'll see what I'm talking about, I think. So a little bit of a crash here. You can see it again kind of center around, and here is where the gearing is a problem. It just doesn't seem to be geared low enough to get up some of the steep inclines if you're starting from there. There were times when me and my buddy Rocket were taking it off-roading, and we just couldn't get up some hills that like a Sand King and like a Rusty Rebel and things like that can go up. But then it can climb that. So it's just a really bizarre truck. But watch this, though, as far as its controllability. Really nose heavy, but able to really get it to come around, no problem. But it did look weird doing it. I don't know. It's just something doesn't look right about this truck in its surroundings. I just don't know what it is. Coming up to the last little bit of dirt here. See if we can avoid all the trees. And nope, the tree mini crash just didn't claim a victim, but its neighbor did. So it's just because I wound up having it slide off. Back in, trying to get away from me again. Definitely being unruly. It does get a bit twitchy at times. So you got to be careful with it. Back on pavement, though, and really wide around that corner. Really wide, in fact. And then that one was so terrible, we wound up in the ditch. But look at it climb right up this. It's just so odd because earlier it couldn't climb a really steep incline, and then that one was no issue whatsoever. But we are down 3 minutes, 15 seconds. So how about we go back to the top of Mount Chilliad, throw this thing off the side, and see what happens. Very easy to control. But there you saw as it landed, it just looked glitchy. And you'll see that happen several times as it falls through the ravine here. It's almost like it's skipping through time and space like a TARDIS. That's right, I'm a Doctor Who fan. You guys often forget that about me, but I'm a Doctor Who fan. Where are my fellow Whovians, by the way? Let me hear from you. So, yeah, see, this truck's just, I don't know, it behaves weird. I can't put my finger on it, what's happening here. And what's causing some of these just really strange things. It's not, I wasn't dropping frames, my frame rate is holding steady. It wasn't lag because of another player, because I'm in this lobby all by myself. So it's just, I don't know. I don't know what's happening with the Barrage. It's just really strange, other than the fact that it's kind of stuck in a tree. There we go. We're out. I do like the truck, though. It's a lot of fun to drive. It's a lot of fun to get a couple friends on the turrets and go on a wonderful 5-star one-in spree. I went with the dual guns instead of a grenade launcher on the back. Even though during the heist itself, if you go back over to my Twitch channel, check me out on the grenade launcher on this thing. Just getting shot after shot after shot with the grenade launcher, just taking out everything. It was pretty spectacular. Wow, managed to nail the wood pile, but we are down 1 minute 37 seconds. Let's take a look at the damage, and it's well, has some minor paint scratches because Rockstar is lazy and didn't do any damage models whatsoever for this truck. But that brings us to the next vehicle. The Vapid Riata. Oh my gosh. I love this truck. There is nothing about this truck I dislike. I went with a very classic Ford Bronco inspired paint job because clearly this thing is supposed to be Rockstar's modern interpretation of the classic Bronco. Maybe what they think Ford's upcoming Bronco that's coming back to the North American markets is going to be. I really hope so, because look at that. Wow, it's amazing. So, the Reata. A lot of people have some confusion about what this truck's name means, because apparently in certain parts of Southwest America, it has a crude name. You can Google that yourself in Urban Dictionary if you'd like. However, it actually means basically a type of lasso, to simplify it a lot, which makes sense because, you know, what do people use to initially grab hold of a bronco horse to begin to tame it? A lasso. So this is Bronco in the game, so they named it after the lasso. Makes total sense to me. Very, very competent off-road, though. The only thing you have to be careful about is when you do like I have done, and you have not lowered the suspension at all, there's a lot of suspension travel, and it can get a little bouncy at times because of that. If you do lower the suspension a little bit, that does mitigate that somewhat, but it still tends to be a bouncy truck. So you got to be careful. Also, as you just saw there, when you are going up and over a bump, if you give it gas, it really likes to do a wheelie, and the front end will come up and over on you if you're not careful with it. So it's not a truck that you can just go full throttle anywhere you want without, you know, with just no regard whatsoever. You do have to think about what you're doing in it, but my gosh, it's so much fun to drive. It looks incredible. It has a bajillion and two customization options, and it sounds nice, and I want it. I want it in the game, and I have it in the game, obviously. But I want this truck, this exact truck, in real life. I've never, ever seen a GTA car before. And I'm like, yep, want that exactly as it is. But here it is. I want this truck to be a real thing, because I love it. We're not going to get the fastest off-roader time. I'm going to go ahead and spoil it for you just a little bit here. But we are going to get a very good time. Remember, anything under that 3-minute mark, I consider it to be a good, solid off-roader. Anything from 3 to about 330 is decent. Anything over 330 is, you know, you probably really don't want to take it off-road after all. So this is going to come in just around that 3-minute mark, actually a little under it. But that's fine, given some of the weird characteristics it has, like the fact it does want to do a wheelie, which means you can't just go full throttle in a lot of places that some other off-roaders can. But watch this rock climbing skill. This is, and then by skill, I mean the truck skill, not mine. Look at that. Just right up, drama-free. Up and over the rocks, and we are up 2 minutes, 58 seconds. Will the Reata off-road? Oh, yes. Yes, it will. Making it the 4th quickest up the side of Mount Chilliad, coming in just behind the Brawler. So now it's time for a control descent, and one of these days when I actually do my when testing goes wrong video, you'll see my first attempt to do a control descent. Yes, I had to go get the truck repaired, drive all the way back to the top of Mount Chilliad, and do the control descent again, because things went wrong right here. And let's just say I discovered that there is indeed a nuclear silo hatch down the side of the mountain over there. So that if you've been down there and you've seen it since the Doomsday Heist DLC was released, you know how far I fell down the mountain. So for the control descent, this thing has really good brakes. Like really good brakes. They don't lock up, and you just have to kind of tap them, and they keep the speed down. Because you have to be careful, because again, this truck will want to bounce up and off the trail, and we'll see that issue kind of rear its ugly head in just a minute or so. I love, though, that sometimes on these corners, it'll go around and kick one wheel up on in the air. I just think it's really cool. Like there, we had the front right. Here, we should have the front left in the air. Just for a second there. Let's go over the uneven terrain, see how it does. Oh, no problem. Smooth that out very nicely. Not able to get a lot of speed going down through here just because it does want to try to roll a little bit. And I don't want that to happen. Get on the throttle somewhat down through here, but just trying to keep it more under control than anything else. Is an easy one to control, but oh my gosh, splat. That was a direct hit. Yeah, there's no coming back from that one, hiker. You better have had life insurance. Here we go there. That bouncy tendency of the front end to want to come up. Well, it led us to a miniature damage descent and an interesting way down this section. So instead of going around over there on the right, we're coming around on the left. I figured since we were down, why not just keep moving forward? Able to put on a lot of speed through on most vehicles through this section here. Of course, there was a time trial there. when I recorded this just a few days ago. Coming down around the trees, not even on the trail, it doesn't matter. I don't know what this thing's off-road speed loss is, or if any. I have no idea. I have not looked into the handling files yet. But it doesn't seem to be much. It seems to keep its speed in the dirt that it has on the asphalt. Maybe loses a little bit, but I don't think it's much. Well, listen to it. Oh, sounds so nice. And we are down 2 minutes, 40 seconds. Let's take it back to the top of Mount Chilliad. We're all driving off the side like an idiot and see what happens. With my compensate license plate, you can figure out the joke there. So, on the landing, got a little bouncy, then it got a little sideways, and it got a lot of rolling. That's like a NASA astronaut test right there to roll that many times. So, yeah, you can already see the doors are coming open. So this is, you know what's going to happen here. We're going to start shedding body parts. Already lost the light, so at least we have some bit of damage. And if you watch closely, you'll see that the body panels where it takes the biggest hits, they are actually denting a little bit, not a lot. But you'll see it up on the roof towards those, let's say it'd be the A, B, C, either the C pillar or D pillar. I can't remember how to count them when there's a bed cab on. But at the back there, the very back, you can see that it started to collapse just a bit there at the back right. And there's a couple other smaller dents here, there, and yonder across the truck. I'm going to try that. I said yonder, deal with it. Through the first tunnel beautifully. Not so much for the next one when we land kind of weird and sideways. And I decided, hey, let's be cool and go backwards. Nope, I missed it. And then I messed it up again, and then we're through. Okay, so back into the muddy, bumpy bits, where this truck is really getting thrown around quite a bit. Again, couldn't nail a tunnel. It's kind of sad when you can't just, you know, plow right into that hole. Anyways, up by the log pile, just barely bumped it, though it kept me from rolling over. And we are down for the damage descent with quite a bit of damage at minute 41 seconds. We've lost the windshield, the headlights, the hood, the doors, and there is minor denting. Hey guys, don't forget, leave a comment down below for the vehicles that you want to see Will It Off-Road in the snow, and then go vote for the vehicles that you want to see in the regular Will It Off-Road by clicking on the link in the description down below. Until next time, I'm Brandon, reminding you to stay vainglorious.